Well, there's different types of questions and reasoning for asking them. All right, so the first type is to gain control. If you are in control, you can lead them to the right program. Don't you agree? So, example, can I have my ad on the right side? You could say, oh yeah, we can do that. Then what? Well, you're not in control any longer. So instead, you can say, is that where you'd like your ad to be? A question. To keep control of the situation. You understand that? Or if you're at the point where you think they're ready to get happily involved, you could say, if I was able to put your ad on the right side, would you be prepared to go ahead with this today? And that's a question, isn't it? And that's to keep in control of the situation versus, or here, why do you feel your ad should be on the right side? You know, there's all different, it's a question. Questions allow you to stay in control of a situation. This is one way to do it. To isolate an area of interest or disinterest. So you will want to know the type of advertising they've engaged in the past, because this is probably something that they would do in the future, right? So if you've done your research, or if you're asking them questions like, what type of marketing are you currently doing? They would say, well, right now I'm, and so now you know, and what is it that you like about it? Okay. So I'm asking questions that help me understand areas of interest or disinterest. I noticed in your ads in the newspaper you don't run very many coupons. Is there a reason for that? Yeah, I don't like coupons. I just don't think, I think it's bad for business. I think, huh, didn't they just find out something? So what am I going to, oh, well, you know, you should do a half-off coupon on ours. No, I'm never going to say that because the guy just told me he doesn't like coupons. So, you know, one of the great things about direct marketing is that we reach every single home. Currently in your newspapers, you know, and you can go through the whole myriad of stuff known to competitors. Right now, the typical newspaper is only reaching about 23% of a given market. Know your industry here. Okay, so Chicago's Trib is probably one of the still little larger papers than, you know, like in Detroit, we're down to 300,000 circulation for the whole market from almost 800,000 at its heyday. And now they're only delivering, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to the home. Their Sunday is just a little over 300,000 in a market that's 1.6 million. They got less than a 20% penetration. And the last statistics show that only 10% of women still read newspapers. So if you're reaching a 20% and only 10% of them women, you're only reaching 2% of the people that you think are your customer. Well, if I didn't know that knowledge, I can't present that in that manner, could I? So, isolate areas of interest. Remember that whatever question you ask, the customer's already right. No matter, your answer is always affirmative. You know, I agree with you that some advertising programs require a substantial investment. However, what is it you'll base your final decision on? The total investment or the total return on that investment? Well, you know, direct mail is really a lot of money. Oh, it's really not that much. You know, if you just, let me show you, it's, no. You can say, I understand that some people feel that direct mail could be a substantial investment, but, you know, Mike, after all, what will you base your final determination on? The total investment into a program or the total return? I ask a question that he's not going to say the total investment, unless he's a moron, which we run across. You know, some people you're just not going to. But again, so questions are always affirmative. I agree with you. They give me a statement of disinterest or something they don't like. I agree with you that this can happen. This is what we, you know, when you turn it around. Questions are just to get a bunch of minor agreements. Throughout your entire presentation, you're going to go through, you know, I know we're just talking about this right now, but if you were to decide to do something with SAVE, what are these areas, after I've explained the map, which of these areas do you feel would best suit your needs? That's a question that gets me, oh, I'd probably do zone 2 and maybe zone 3. Okay. These are little questions. It's sort of like the dog with the bobble thing in the hat. Just keep their head, if they keep doing that enough, at the end, they're still doing that, hopefully, because they're happy with it. So you can do, was that a half a page that you thought would best suit your needs, or would a quarter a page be better for you? Alternates of choice questions, they can't say no to them. It gets a minor agreement. Yeah, I think a quarter page would be fine. Okay. Would you have your artwork ready to finish today, or would I have to come back to complete your artwork? These are all assumption closes, questions that get that minor agreement. Okay, so you've got questions that to gain control, isolate areas of interest, always agreeing that the customer's right, and to receive a minor agreement. Now, to rouse and control emotions, there's a little segment in here about emotions. Every decision, every purchase decision is based on an emotion. The reason that you bought what you're wearing today was an emotional involvement to you. A car you like, I like a red, I like it's emotions. Now, you're sitting there and you see this sports car going on, oh my God, that is so cool, I want that. Of course, you get there and you find out it's $200,000, you decide that I'm not that emotionally involved with it. But you have to get them emotionally involved with it. You have to get emotions, and you got to be careful about how to raise those emotions, because if you do it the wrong way, you get negative ones. So agreements and questioning and letting them stay what they feel is in control. But you must make them feel that they're part of this program. The customer wants to be like their competitors that are successful. They want to excel in their own sales over their competitors. They would like to have their establishment look as professional as possible. They want their artwork to look good. They want to be in a professional looking product. They want to be proud to say they run ads with us. They want their ads to have good layouts, powerful graphics, and great offers. We can handle that. We can give them exactly what they want. They want to generate enough leads to create interest in their own product. So the questions that we ask are things like, who's your major competitor, Paula? Clipper. No, you're a business store. You're Jack, the guy down the store.
Okay, no, so what am I?
Joe, I don't care. You're an oil change place.
Okay, so mine is the one down the street.
Joe's might, okay. So what do you do that's better than them?
I have a wonderful waiting room. It's really clean. I give them coffee and I give them donuts.
Service, I got, so that's a question, isn't it? That arose, it's getting emotions involved with it. When you start talking about their competitors, if you're like most entrepreneurs, when you start talking about their competitors and how they are better, there's a couple things I get here. First of all, I start getting their emotions involved, okay? And if that competitor happens to be with us and I turn around and I show them, this is what Joe's running right now. That starts an emotion, doesn't it? But, so what is it? This isn't my customer, Paula, but, what is it that you do better? How can we tell everybody out there why they should come here instead of Joe's?
I give a much better price for my oil changes.
I'm going to start, that's emotions. Those are the questions you have to ask to get them to start. Yeah, not only are we, but we got it. When can I get in there? I want to kick his butt, All right, so that's emotions. Isolate an objection. You'll never know what stands between you and the sale unless you isolate that objection. And this generally is when the prospect says, I can get it for less, I want to think it over, or some other put-off tactic that they want to get rid of you. Okay? They're wanting to get you out the door. And the reason for that is because you haven't done an eloquent job in presenting our product. You haven't given them enough reasons for going ahead. You haven't given them enough value in doing this. So you need to work on your presentation. But they say, let me think it over. First of all, let me tell you, they won't. Guarantee you. As soon as you walk out the door, whatever you left them went in the XYZ file, which is the trash can, and they'll never think about you again in their life. So what we do is we isolate that objection through a series of questions. So they said something like, well, let me think it over and, okay, I assume that you'll give this careful consideration. Advertising is an important aspect of your business, isn't it, Susan? So just as I'm folding up my stuff and I'm putting things away, getting ready, before I leave, just to clarify my thinking, we talked about zone 2. You thought that would be a good zone for you, and that a quarter page, and we're doing October right now, and you thought that was a good month to start, October, November, and then coming back next spring. So we picked out like 6 months, and is it the total investment that's bothering you today? That's stopping us from going ahead? Okay. I asked a series of questions that got me to the real objection, the money, which is typically what it is all the time. I haven't proven to her that what I asked her to invest with me was enough value for her to go ahead with this. All right, so now, instead of me just walking out the door, I know the problem. So now I can solve that solution. So I can continue with questions like, well, how much too much is it, Susan?
Oh, probably $200 each issue.
Okay, so now I know what I got to overcome. I'm down to one little thing. I just get rid of the $200, her and I are in. Okay, so isolating an area, isolating an objection. We ask questions to that. And of course, the best way to answer an objection is through questioning. I showed you that when I did put the shoe on the other foot. I asked a series of questions that said, just because you had a bad experience with shoes wouldn't mean you wouldn't wear shoes any longer, right? Just you had a bad experience with that. Are you going to stop wearing shoes? Of course not. But now, or I could have said, well, what was the ad? What did you run? Oh, that wasn't a good month. You shouldn't have ran in July. What was the offer? Oh, did you just try it once? Well, that's not right. You can you're saying things. You can go through that whole thing, or you can do a series of questions that brings her along happily, and she understands. She goes, you're probably right. Just because it didn't work once. There's all different types of ways that you can answer an objection through a series of questions that I'll show you, okay? So what type of questions that should you ask? Only questions that are confirming that the prospect is going ahead with you. We try not to ask any yes or no questions. So was that area 1 you wanted to run? No. Was that area 1 or was that area 2 that you preferred? Now either one confirms the fact they're going ahead. That's why when I do my 30-second commercial, you'll see, was Tuesday or Wednesday better for you? Not, is Tuesday good for you? No. There's never a yes or no. So was that a half page or a full page, morning or afternoon? So these are what's called alternates of choice questioning. So you never ask a question with a yes or no answer. And I said in the beginning, this is an involvement sport. It's not about you regurgitating your information to this client. It's about them asking questions and getting involved and saying, well, how many issues do I have to run? And what would you recommend in this? And how could I get, all the different things. So, and emotions are crucial. And some people like different things. The fact, an emotion might be the market I'm reaching. Is this where you feel your customers are coming from? That's an emotion. Yeah, those are my customers. Do you want to own this, or do you want one of your competitors to own this? That's an emotion. What does the customer need to make a decision? They need someone to help them rationalize that decision that they really would want to make. Is there any customer that doesn't want to grow their business? No. You have to assure the customer they're making the right decision, dissipate their self-doubts, and they will change their minds if you can help them to justify that change. They are afraid to make a decision because fear of rejection. They're afraid to fail. And that causes procrastination and indecision. And we all know that procrastination is living yesterday, avoiding today, and ruining tomorrow. And that's your customer. So often and it's all because they're fearful. They're afraid they're going to give you $500 and they're going to say, wow, what's going to happen? That's why managing expectations is so crucial. Because to them, $500 is a substantial amount of money. However, they've been in business and every year they're spending $500,000, $1 million on running their business. $500, when you consider that to $1 million that it cost them to run their business and buy the things and sell their stuff, is 0.1%. I mean, it's so minute. How can they expect that to change? It's really crucial that you help them manage that expectation, which is all about emotions. Okay? You sell clients the features that Save-On will accomplish is what they need. The way you find this out is by asking questions to find out what type of features they're looking for in a direct mail program. You could ask questions such as, inquire in a new advertising program, what would you alter or improve from your current marketing program? That's one of the 4 questions I'm going to teach you to ask during a qualification sequence. And the purpose of that question is to start to arouse emotions and paint that word picture of what you're going to tell them. This is the point where I'm going to start telling you what I'm going to tell you. And this is where I'm going to start bringing up the benefits of our program versus the benefits of our competitors or what they're currently using. So how do we do what they're currently doing better? So the key to ask the right question is done in qualification portion of the sale. We will teach you how to decide what is best for the customer and ask the right questions to lead them to our decision. Okay? Any questions about this? This is studying, guys. You have to study it. And how do you study this? That pad of paper that I told you, when you do a presentation, come out and think about that presentation. What did I say that didn't quite go right? What was it that I didn't articulate very well? Where could I have inserted a question versus a statement? There are times that you will make a statement, and I'll show you how to handle that in the program, but it's called a tie down. So when you make a statement, you confirm by, I just told you to do that, didn't I? Or wouldn't you agree? You could tie it down in the beginning. Wouldn't you agree that? So, but you're not going to learn how to do this unless you study it, unless you take time to go through it, and at the end of each session, at the end of each presentation, you take the time to write down everything you did. All right, so what do you need to know? Product knowledge. Product knowledge is a great enthusiasm. It gives you excitement to know you know what you're talking about. You can't make a statement. When I'm with a customer, I'll make a statement with confidence. Because if you can't make it with confidence, they can't believe you. If they don't think you know more than they do about it, you're never going to get them to trust you. Knowing product knowledge is empowering.